Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. How many people have been a little bit stressed, say, over the last week? Have some stress in their lives? Yeah, probably just about everybody. And part of that's because we live very busy lives, we have busy schedules, and we're probably busy with our social media and the like. So there's a lot of stress out there. And one area of stress is that people don't really, I think about too much, is how much clutter they have in their living space. There's clutter everywhere. Some people just have clutter. But clutter is very individual. Because if you had a continuum from hoarders to minimalists, how they define clutter would be different. I myself, in my lifetime, have been a bit of a hoarder. And now, as I get older, I become more of a minimalist. And I find the more minimalist I become, the more relaxed I become. And this didn't become a subject to me until I went to buy my first house. I remember I told the real estate agent I wanted to live in a small house. He said, I have the perfect house for it. It's 672 square feet. But he said, there's been 17 people who've looked at this house and no one has bought it. I'm like, why is that? So we drove up there. I go, I want to check it out. It sounds like the perfect place. I love the neighborhood. So we drive up to it and I look at it and go, well, it has turquoise shutters, so that's not too good. And it hadn't been painted. There's crabgrass on the lawn. And the driveway looked like it got attacked by a B-52 carpet bombing. I was like, this isn't looking good. So I walked into the house, but you know something? I was looking at the house and I'm like, it looks pretty good. But then when I walked into the house, it was just, there was a family of 4 living in this house, 672 square feet, and it had so much clutter in there. And I realized when I went in there, I was like in a hyperventilate, there was so much clutter, and I didn't want to move anything. I thought there was a dead body under there. But I realized that the reason why 17 people went into this house and no one bought it was because of all the clutter. Because once I bought it, and I bid real low because no one wanted to buy it, I realized it was because of the clutter. So I started looking at my own situation with clutter. And I'm going to talk to you about a few things that I've done to help me with my clutter, because I feel less clutter, the more relaxed you are. So the first thing was books. How many people love books? Books? Yeah. I used to keep books. I was a hoarder of books. I used to have 15 boxes of books. And even when I wanted to get rid of them, I'd get rid of 5 boxes, I'd buy 5 boxes more. I'd probably spend over $1,000 in books, because I love books, I read a lot of books. But I realized whenever I had to move those books. So the first thing I decided to get rid of when I wanted to declutter was my books. 15 boxes of books. I just got rid of them. I have no books in my house. I don't even have a book to show you today as a prop. I have no books in my house. Because when I want to read something, I put it on my Kindle or I go to the library. So books, 15 boxes out of my life. Second thing, photos, photo albums. As many of you know, I've traveled all over the world. I've done all kinds of crazy adventures. I used to have 2 big boxes of photo albums and photos and slideshows, all kinds of great stuff. But I used to have to trek those everywhere I moved, and I used to try to keep them at my brother's house, and he drove cross country and said, oh, you left these at my house. So what did I do? I took all those books, all those photos, and I put them on here. I scanned them all. How many photos and photo albums do I have in the house? 0. They're right here. Or I can take out my phone and they're in my Dropbox. I actually look at those photos probably more now because they're in my Dropbox at any time. I can look at them. If I had time, I'd show you some funky pictures when I got dark hair. But I won't do that right now. Music, movies. I used to have CDs, albums, that old stuff. Adios amigos. I just put that. I have any books, movies, on my iPad. 2 boxes of CDs, albums, books, gone. No more. Put them all on my iPad. Next thing, mementos. Mementos, mail, magazines, all that stuff. You see a clutter in your house? Gone. Where did I put it? Boop. I've traveled all the world. I used to collect all kinds of stuff. And I used to want to look at it every once in a while, but I'd have to pull it out, I'd have to find something. You know something? It's all in my hard drive. $90, 2 terabytes. This fits all kinds of stuff. Do I have my 2 boxes? And I have it in my Dropbox. I have all kinds of cool stuff in my Dropbox. I can just look at it any time. A friend of mine a few days ago called me 25 years ago. He's on my staff. And he was joking, I have a picture when you had dark hair, ha ha ha. I sent him, yeah, I have a picture when you had hair, okay? Where did I get it? Off my Dropbox. But I decluttered all that stuff. And then finally, every 6 months, I walk around my house and I ask myself, if I used that stuff in the last year, if I used those shirts, if I haven't used something in a year, adios amigos, out of my life. Because it's just sitting there as clutter. My golf clubs, they're sitting there collecting dust, boom, Craigslist, I made a couple $100. My extra bike, I got 4 of them. What do I need 4 bikes? I got rid of 1 of them. My table, my climbing gear, I must have made $400 this year on just selling junk that was just sitting in my house. So over the last year and a half, I've probably gotten rid of 20 boxes and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of clutter that makes my life a lot simpler. So what are the benefits? The benefits are, I'm more relaxed, I have more space, I have less things to think about, and I'm just more relaxed. So if I'm having a stressful day, I can go home and everything looks good because I don't have all that clutter around me. So in summary, we all lead busy lives, but one thing we can control is the clutter we have in our living space, because your living space shouldn't be, I feel, so stressful. So what I want to challenge all of you to do is to recognize less clutter means a more stress-free environment. And again, clutter is defined by everyone differently. But for you, walk into your living space and ask, how much does this stuff give me value? And is it just clutter? And if it's clutter, can I remove it from my life? And if I remove this stuff, would it make me feel much more relaxed? Because if you do that, A, you might make a few bucks. B, you will be more relaxed. And C, you'll thank yourself the next time you move. Madam Toastmaster.